Hello everybody, this is Blade from the Hidden Blade channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my wishes for 2022 in Nintendo's newest games and projects. I'm really hoping that this year is going to be better than last year, because if Nintendo could keep improving every year, that would be amazing. We already know there's tons of amazing titles already coming out this year, but we really just have to see when they're releasing, because Breath of the Wild 2 was supposed to have released by this year, but sadly because of things, it got delayed later. So now we really don't know if anything's getting released for certain until it does. So here's a quick things that I want for 2022. The first thing that I'd like to see is Kirby and the Forgotten World. I hope that the game comes out a little bit earlier than intended, because I think the game personally is going to release sometime in the summer, but I think if they gave it a spring release like May, that would be perfect. It seems to fit with the theme of the game, where it is abandoned and kind of desolate, but there's all flowers and grass and trees, and everything kind of feels like if it either got a summer or spring release, that would fit pretty well. It'd be pretty nice as well, as we're probably not going to have too many games for the next couple of months. The only thing that I'm assuming is going to release early in, I assume February, maybe they'll get an announcement, is Breath of the Wild 2, as it looks to be basically done. They seem to have not even revealed the name yet, so I'm hoping it just gets revealed in February and released in the summer or fall of next year. Which my expectations for Breath of the Wild 2 are high, so I'm really hoping the game lives up to everything that it seems to be. I hope that there's new mechanics, more enemies, mini-bosses. The shrines are a little bit more unique, as rather than being the same thing over and over and over again. I would really hope there'd just be some sort of variety, and it looks like we're already gonna get that. It looks like we're gonna have the ability to fly and go through walls, as documents released by Nintendo are showing that in the game you may be able to shift through things like floors, is what it's looking like. And that seems to be a fun mechanic that I think they could really play around with if they used it right. In the trailer they just showed it off to be something that you could go through a floor when gliding up to it, which I think if they utilize that truly to its fullest potential, there could be some really unique dungeons where the idea is you have to go up levels and it's kind of like a maze, but you don't know where you're going up. There's tons of options, and I really hope they utilize everything they've set up pretty well. Another thing is that Breath of the Wild 2, we don't know the name yet, which honestly is quite concerning, as if the game is supposed to release next year, we don't even know a name. Splatoon 3 is Splatoon 3, because it's the third Splatoon. They don't have titles. Kirby, Forgotten World. And the title of Breath of the Wild 2 is yet to be revealed, because apparently it's supposed to spoil something, which is concerning me, because I don't want to pick the game up on launch day and know some big secret about the game. And if they're really keeping it hidden as much as they are, it's gotta reveal something pretty big. Plus the box art's gotta reveal something pretty big. Breath of the Wild, originally its box art was just Link looking over an open field of Hyrule. And what you gotta consider about that is that's kind of the tone for Zelda. That doesn't reveal too much, but they won't reveal the name or the box art. Breath of the Wild, there's nothing you can really get out of that. The name could be Battle for Hyrule or The End of Hyrule, something. But we don't even know what the box art looks like. Breath of the Wild, meanwhile, had its game revealed. We knew what it was, we knew what the art style was like, we knew tons of things about it, and it was releasing in a year or two. They showed it off with the Wii U, and it ended up releasing on the Switch's launch day, which was a while from then. So what we really gotta be worried about is this game going to live up to what it's good to be? Which I think, personally, it will. If they're really trying to keep these things secret, either that could be bad and hinder the game, or it could be a great benefit. It really all depends on how Nintendo uses this. I think Splatoon 3 is the next thing I want to talk about. As I already talked about in my Nintendo Direct video, Splatoon 3 seems to be something that's going to be quite interesting, but I honestly don't know how to feel about it. There are multiple items that I've seen that look like Splatoon 2 items, but DLC. Imagine if we got Octo Expansion, except instead of a story mode, they just gave us a couple more items, a new map, and a new type for your Octo, well, your Squidling, I guess. So you really gotta consider that, will this be a different game? Will this be Splatoon 3? The only reason that Splatoon 2 is majorly different than Splatoon 1 is because of the consoles. There are tons of different things within the games, but I don't know how they're gonna try and change up the game design enough to make Splatoon 3 not feel like DLC for Splatoon 2. Maybe the story, but at that point, why wouldn't you just include it as another DLC pack? It's kind of concerning how we don't know what Nintendo's going to do to change up the game design. I'm still going to pick up the game, however, because it does look interesting, but they haven't revealed enough, similar to what they did with Breath of the Wild 2, they haven't revealed enough to make me like, yes, I need this game on launch date. If I don't have this, I'm going to lose it. Because both of these games, they haven't revealed much about. And I'm not going to tell this on Kirby because that game is still in development. I don't think they've completed it yet. And that's definitely going to be releasing on fall or winter. That's going to be releasing later in the year. That's not coming early. Splatoon 3 and Breath of the Wild 2, those both need to come out sometime near the beginning. Because otherwise we're going to have another dry spell. And we don't want to have that. So it really depends on what Nintendo's doing here, as I mentioned for Breath of the Wild 2. They need to play their cards right, otherwise they're going to end up making some mistakes, and this year is not going to be as good as everyone's expecting it to be. There are some big releases, everyone's really excited for them, and it just seems like Nintendo really needs to play their cards right, otherwise no one's going to care this year, and next year it will have to be better. So Nintendo really needs to think about what they're doing. Like, we need to have like a big Splatoon 3 Direct or Breath of the Wild 2 Direct sometime in January near the end when these games are going to start release. We need more info. We don't have enough to be like, oh yeah, this game, new mechanics, new items, new weapons, new areas to explore. No. All we know about these games is that they're going to be different than the first ones. Breath of the Wild 2, you're going to be able to fly around in the sky, which you could do in the first game, but there weren't islands in the first game. But you could fly on top of mountains, so I feel like those two could almost be interchanged. In Splatoon 3, you can use new weapons and new items. Doesn't Splatoon 2 like get an item every week? And you see, that's the issue. They're just not using it right. We need more info. How do I know this game is different? How do I know this game isn't different? It just really depends on what Nintendo does, which I've already said many times before, but I really need to stretch that factor. If you don't do what you were expected to do, you're gonna fail. No one's gonna like it. No one's gonna want to play your game. So Nintendo really needs to give us more info or a release date or something. Whether that be on Splatoon 3 or Breath of the Wild 2. One of these two are coming out near the end of winter. So Nintendo really needs to start giving us more info. And then today, Advance Wars 1+2 for the Switch came out. This game looks pretty exciting and I do want to pick it up later today. The game looks interesting in its art style, and it seems to have very diverse characters from the trailers. It looks like a fun game, I just don't know too much about it, so I can't really say much about it here. Bayonetta 3 is coming out, which again, like Kirby, I'm not gonna really judge too much because it did only get a reveal trailer a couple months ago. We don't really know the gameplay, new mechanics, we don't know anything about it, which is okay, because that's gonna be a later release as well. But again, Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, those are going to come out sometimes near the beginning of the year. So those have been my expectations for 2022. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!